Candidate for the U.S. Senate in Michigan has one message amid the federal immigration crackdown: abolish ICE. Abdul El-Sayed is locked in one of the most competitive primaries in the country. He's up against fellow Democrats Haley Stevens and Mallory McMorrow. Former Republican Congressman Mike Rogers is running again after losing in 2024 to Democrat Alyssa Slotkin. Abdul El-Sayed, live on set with us here in Los Angeles. Welcome to The Story Is for the first time.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Why do you want to abolish ICE, and who does federal immigration enforcement if you do?
Well, look, ICE is a small part of a much larger Customs and Border Protection, which is part of a much larger Homeland Security. You've got an agency here that is well beyond any sort of ability to rehab. When you think about a house with mold in it, it's not saying you don't want a house, it's just saying you don't want the house with mold in it. This is an agency that you could have seen getting to this point in 2018, which is when I first called for this. Once you tell an agency that it's beyond the law, that it operates only for the interest and support of one man, it's become a paramilitary force, it's been told that it can cover its face, that it can get away with shooting a mother in the face. It has been told that it's okay to recruit people, give them very poor training, equip them with guns, and then set them loose on streets like in Minnesota, which, by the way, is very far away from the southern border. At that point, it is beyond rehab, it is beyond retraining. And so I think at this point, it's clear that we have to abolish ICE and rethink how we do Customs and Border Protection. But let me be clear. I do believe we have to secure our southern border. Let me be clear. I do believe that there is a role for some enforcement. But that has to be done with respect to keeping the people in this country safe in the first place, because Donald Trump has taken ICE and weaponized it against the whole idea of the Constitution in the first place.
So then who does that? Because when there's always been this thought about abolishing police, and then there's crime happens, then people are like, okay, well, we kind of miss our police. What does that look like? Who's in charge of, if somebody's here illegal, especially somebody with a criminal record who's here illegally, who gets them out?
You know, before ICE, there was INS. This is a thing we've done for a very long time. But INS did this with respect to a certain set of parameters and barriers that were around keeping people safe in the first place. But if your whole idea is that you're keeping people safe and then shooting a mom in the face, at some point this has run way past the notion of what we were meant to protect in the first place.
Of course, they would say, then don't drive at us with a car in that situation, but obviously that's a big debate right now. Another big thing that's a sort of differentiator with you and your Senate race is you are a big believer in Medicare for all. You've literally written a book on it. You yourself are a doctor. You've been talking about this for many years. You're endorsed by Senator Bernie Sanders, who obviously is probably the biggest proponent of this policy. How do you get that done at the federal level? How do you get 60 votes in the Senate to pass Medicare for all when they could barely pass Obamacare when they had 60 votes and it was all Democrats?
Well, let's just start with the basic facts here. Premiums are some of the fastest growing line items in people's budgets. This has become deeply unsustainable. And even President Obama said that the ACA was a starter home. And I think we're at a point now where we've outgrown our starter home. You look at where we are with medical debt, $225 billion. I think the time is now to be thinking about how we actually make good on the promise of delivering health care for every single American in this country. Medicare for all would do that. Now, how do you get there? I think we have to get in the business of persuading again. I think too often Democrats look at where a poll says and say, we're going to speak right to the middle of the poll. But our job in politics is not about just saying what's popular. It is about making popular what is right. And at this point right now, as people are struggling without the health care that they need and deserve, I think we have an opportunity to go fight the righteous fight to actually guarantee people health care. A lot of people think in the US Senate that it's a conversation between 100 different people. It is partly that. But it's really a conversation with the 350 million people who elect us. And I want to have that conversation because I'll tell you, up and down my state, 70 different cities now, 200 public events. When I talk about Medicare for all, it's not just Democrats who are coming, it's Republicans. And when I say, hey, look, some huge corporation shouldn't get to decide to raise your premiums 15% so their CEO can make 18 million bucks. And that's a pretty winning argument, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican.
For a lot of folks in Michigan, they're very familiar with you at this point. For a lot of folks on the national stage and the international stage, this show airs in 200 countries, they may not be that familiar with you. You've got quite a life story. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got to this point. I know in your intro ad, you sort of make fun of your own name as maybe not the perfect name for politics, but quite an American story behind you.
Yeah, look, I'm the son of an Egyptian immigrant raised by my father and my stepmom, Jackie, who's a daughter of the American Revolution, whose family has been in this part of the world since 1630. I've been explaining myself to people in my own family my whole life. And one of the things you learn is that people believe the same things, whether it's your grandmother who never got to go to school in Egypt, or your grandma, Judy, who's a nurse trained in Flint. When your grandmother kisses you on the forehead and tells you she loves you and makes you your favorite meal, it's the same love. And I think we could bring a lot more of that back to our politics. I became a doctor because I understood that whether I went 15 hours from where I grew up or 15 minutes into the city of Detroit, I cross a 10-year life expectancy gap. And then you start getting curious about why people get sick in the first place. So I went into public health, got to rebuild Detroit's health department, led Wayne County's health department, put glasses on kids, took on huge corporate polluters, put Narcan in 100 different locations, eliminated medical debt. And we've got a U.S. Senate seat open. We haven't had a Democratic doctor in the U.S. Senate since 1969.
Wow.
Never had a public health official as far as we know. And I think given what RFK Jr. is doing to our public health apparatus, I think a lot of people think we could probably use one of those right now. So we're running a simple campaign. Get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. We've been resonating up and down our state, and we're looking forward to building a joyful movement for the future.
Thank you so much for coming on. Great to see you in person. Hopefully you're enjoying LA's weather.
A little bit better than our 9 degrees in Michigan, but don't tell the folks in Detroit.
Thank you very much. I think you just did. As tension